can be a little frosty when you're getting telephone calls asking you to pay your bills, and there's help that can be on the way. Joining us we're coping with debt with Doyle Salewski. Paul Salewski joining us. Great to have you back on the show. And this can be very difficult for a lot of people to deal with getting the collectors calling them.
Well, sure, you're just sitting down to dinner and all of a sudden the phone rings and it's those darn bill collectors phoning and phoning and phoning, and they seem to be relentless sometimes. They don't stop. You pick up the phone, they want to cajole you and lie to you or do whatever they can do to have you pay them, because they don't get paid unless you pay them.
You were saying sometimes they have the scare tactics, because often they'll call you, maybe do something, but they'll be coming back.
They'll tell you they can do this, they can do that, and typically they can't. But once again, their mission is to have you pay them. They don't care about the rest of your creditors, they care about themselves.
Okay, so how do you hang up the phone from these creditors, people calling to collect, so that they get paid?
I think a lot of people don't pick the phone up in the first place once they realize, but a lot of these collectors are wily too. They find out where you work, they phone you at work, they phone you to try and get information once again. So if you get too many calls at work, the boss all of a sudden is on your back and that sort of thing. I think what you've got to do is realize what bill collectors are allowed to do and not allowed to do. Typically, they have to be careful about how they phone you, when they phone you, that sort of stuff. A lot of them ignore that. There's a good website with the Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs that talk about credit collection agencies and what they can do and what they can't do.
It's got to be frustrating. You know, you're already, I'm sure, under enough pressure and stress as it is to have these phone calls, and then to realize maybe by looking on these sites that some of these things are probably not appropriate to help you in dealing with this.
Well, a lot of people just don't know that, and they're just afraid. And typically we see people come to us after they've had inundated with a number of calls. But a lot of times people get a false sense of security as well, because sometimes the calls stop. The calls stop, you think, oh, I'm safe. But you're safe for a while because it's some sort of rotation that comes back, and then you're back.
There was a rotation on the list of the calls out, and that's really what it is, so a false sense of security.
Yeah. What happens, though, you can come and talk to us, and depending upon your situation, we can help you, depending upon what you do. Once you do something with us, perhaps file for bankruptcy or make a proposal, those kind of calls should stop. Typically, once a credit collector realizes that you've done a step to work with your financial situation, they'll stop calling. They want to go to the next person. But you know, sometimes they don't, and sometimes, you know, what happens is that you're dealing with the bank, and the bank, you're trying to do something with them, and all of a sudden you file something with us, but the bank in the interim has put that onto a bill collector. The bill collector doesn't know that, so even though you come to us, sometimes the calls are still there. Typically, once they know you've done something, though, they stop. At
that point, you can probably respond to that telephone call saying, listen, I'm going through something, a proposal is being made, and I've taken the steps towards that. And
well, when someone does something else, we encourage them to look, don't be afraid to answer the phone. Tell them what you've done. They want to confirm that, they can phone my office and they can confirm that you've done that. And typically, they'll leave you alone because, like I said before, they want to go to the next guy because they want to get paid from collecting.
But they need to see that process has started. So once the phone calls in, hopefully you've had enough of it, and it's overwhelming. I know that there's a process with you guys that allows you to kind of go through it and start taking those baby steps.
Once you come to us, we'll look at your situation. We'll hopefully have a plan of attack on what to do. Perhaps a proposal, which we think are great things to do. Bankruptcy as well, depending upon your situation. But once the process has started, as I said before, we encourage people to don't be shy. Pick the phone up. Tell the creditors what you've done, because they typically will leave you alone.
Okay. Really good advice. And of course, if you're looking for more information, your website is a great tool for that. And to be able to call and at least head in for that consultation and be able to at least express what's going on and see what the plan is to be able to kind of deal with this head on. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Thank you.
We do have to take a break. Plenty more to come here on CTV Morning Live. Of course.